Arguably the greatest movie of all time was The Godfather, with a cast of the biggest names in Hollywood. And one of the stars of that film is here with us tonight. Not only was he in The Godfather, he was in many other films, had a successful singing career, and is quite the entrepreneur, having run a nightclub in Las Vegas, has his own brand of wine, and now vodka. We have with us Gianni Russo.
Thank you for having me, man.
How's that for an intro?
I love it.
Did I pass the audition?
Whatever you want.
Whatever I want. He's very flexible. So, the last time I saw you, you were singing at Le Cirque.
Yeah, and I had the privilege of closing it New Year's Eve this year. What a shame.
What happened to them?
Well, like most brick and mortar, the rents are killing them here. He was at $130,000 a month. They want to raise him to $160,000. How are you gonna make money at $40,000 a week rent?
Man, that's pretty intense. So
Such an iconic place, though.
That was a regular place for you, right?
Yeah, it's fortunate for me because I live on 61st Street, and for the last 40 years, I worked in a 4-block radius of my house. Four Seasons, Feinstein's at the Regency, Boutique, and Le Cirque. That's it.
Oh, you did a lot of Feinstein's.
So I walked to work.
I had Little Anthony on my radio show, and then they invited me to see him at Feinstein's after that. That was an interesting
Great show.
place.
I don't like the new one on down below 54, whatever it is. Yeah. And my clientele, when they come, they stay. They have dinner. It's 3 or 4 hours. They give you an hour slot. I went to see it. Michael and John, who run it and own it, that piece of it. But you're out in an hour and a half, and my crowds, like I say, they come by bottles, and I do 40 tunes a night.
Yeah, Le Cirque's a classy place. I even threw on a jacket, I think, to go there.
Oh, yeah, you have to have a jacket. Did. It's closed. No, but New Year's Eve, to have the privilege of closing that, when Tony Bennett opened it, I mean, you think the popes, the presidents, and everything else, and then when they called me, I was supposed to be at Foxwoods Casino. And they said, Johnny, we'd like you to come and close it. It was a privilege.
Now, when you were there was a special guest appearance by one of my former guests, Dominic Chianese, got up and did a few tunes.
Oh, with me?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. No, it's ironic how many people I get up to do special singing, and they do it, man. Everybody. It's great. Well, I did that in State Street when I had my club in Vegas. I had Sinatra, D. Martin. I had Eddie Murphy. It was a funny story. Come in after a major fight, and he did about an hour stand-up. And when he was ready to leave, my guy said to him, so you're going to take care of this bill? He said, I just did an hour stand-up. He said, we didn't ask you to. You have $3,400 bill. He couldn't believe it. His brother started laughing.
Did Eddie pay his bill?
Oh, of course he did. Yeah.
Good man.
Yeah.
So I actually just saw you in a film with Dominic the other night. When I knew I was having you on, I figured let me do my homework, and I happened to own a Steven Seagal movie called Out for Justice. So what was it like duking it out with Seagal?
I wasn't supposed to be in that movie. It was funny. A very close friend of mine, Joe Watts, and anybody in New York, Staten Island knows Joey. And he called me. I was in town, and he said, do you know this guy, Steven Seagal? I said, Steven
nice Jewish
Seagal.
boy.
I said, no, why? He said, yeah, he's that karate guy. I said, you mean Seagal? He said, yeah, whatever. He says, he's shooting a movie in Brooklyn, and a close friend of ours, I don't want to mention the guy's name, his daughter was on the set, which is ironic because here we are, spin forward. Everybody's getting harassed and sexually abused on sets. He was a little off color with this guy's daughter.
Seagal.
Yeah. He says, would you stop by the set and tell him to calm down? So I go out there, and I know Jules Nasser, a great producer, produced all those movies, actually. So I see Jules. I said, Jules, where's Steven? He says, in his trailer. I said, I got to talk to him. I said, I only got 10 minutes. He said, oh, maybe longer than that. I said, tell him I want to talk to him. He says, what's the matter? I said, well, I got a message from John. He said, John who? I said, you don't want to go there. Get him. He came out. And I asked him a question. The girl's name was Marianne. I said, "You know this girl, Marianne?" She said, "Oh man, what a piece of ass." I said, "Excuse me. That's the reason I'm here." He said, "What do you mean?" I said, "John Gotti asked me to come by here." He turned white. The big Buddha turned white, whiter than he is. I said, "You can't be touching these people. You're in Brooklyn. You don't know who, you can't make demands on people, especially neighborhood girls. Not any girl, but especially neighborhood girls. You're going to wind up hurt." So Jules looks at him and this, he said, "We're going to have a problem with this?" I said, "It's up to him, not me. I'm leaving. I was going back to L.A. Stay." I said, "What are we going to do here?" He said, "You stay, we're right apart for you." I said, "I don't want to be in this movie." I swear to God, I wasn't in the movie till that day. So he said, "You could please stay." So I threw a number at him. He paid me because he was afraid. The next night, he says to me, "I want to go in town and make amends with John." I said, "You don't want to do that, believe me." No, I want to meet him." So I called Joe Watts. I said, "Joe, this guy wants to meet John." He said, "John don't want to meet him." I said, "Meet the guy and do whatever you got to do." Unbeknownst to me, that's how that whole situation started. When they put the arm on Stephen. Stephen paid him money for years and years and years. As stupid as he was for touching Marianne, is him testifying against John. Now he's living with Putin in Russia. He'll never come back here. You know that, right? He's exiled.
Really?
Oh, told never to come back here again. Like Tommy Sands was told to go to Hawaii. He went to, he'll go.
It's interesting how different the movie world is from the real world. In the movie world, Seagal walks into like John Gotti's equivalent's house and beats 15 people to death.
Yeah.
In real life, he kind of keeps his mouth shut and moves to Russia.
Hello. The real people know that.
But one of the things that mixed martial arts has shown us is a lot of that fancy stuff doesn't work anyway when you really get down to it.
It was so funny because in a conversation, I won't say who said it to him. He's with all your kung fu caca, 3-ounce piece of lead in the head, you're dead.
Well,
hello.
Well, that's all true, but not even just that. I saw an interesting fight on the internet. There was this Chinese mixed martial arts guy who was saying all of this traditional Chinese martial arts is a bunch of crap. And they were getting very offended because it's a big part of their culture.
Right.
And he called out all of the Tai Chi masters. And one of them eventually took the challenge. I've seen the fight. It's on the internet. You could find it. So this guy is the Tai Chi guy looks perfect. He's got the flowing white robes and the shaved head. And the other guy's got a pair of shorts and a T-shirt, right? And the Tai Chi guy is ready. Fight lasted less than 10 seconds.
Of course.
The MMA guy knocked him out in 10 seconds.
Yeah.
He just came, nothing fancy, just came in, punched the guy in the head a bunch of times, it was over. So some of that, because I just watched the movie, and he was doing some cool moves on you guys there, beating up 15 people, but doesn't work so good when they don't go where they're supposed to be at the right time.
Exactly. And not only that, it's a storyline, it's a script. When there's no storyline, no script, it's who's walking out.
The star doesn't always get to win.
Yeah, you're laying on the floor.
But so that's how you got into Out for Justice. It's in a way similar how you ended up in The Godfather, right? Because you did not have an acting career.
Well, The Godfather wasn't a violent situation.
No, but I mean, you just kind of mediated wasn't it kind of like a union situation or something?
No, it was not the union at all. The union was a part of it because Joe Colombo, he had the Italian Anti-Defamation League.
Right.
And they were the ones that were doing all the picketing, and the
they
book
didn't
came
want
out the
Cosa
wrong
Nostra or Mafia
all that. And so with that, I spoke to Joe, which I happen to know, and I said, "Joe, you're missing a great opportunity." And a friend of mine, who's still my attorney, Barry Slotnick, just started practicing, because that's 47 years ago we're talking about. And Barry's still my attorney. We always talk about this story. And I said, "You got Barry. He's the attorney for the league. Let him read the script. Sit down and make this happen." He said, "Why wouldn't we do that?" I said, "You're selling $1 a button." I remember selling these little tiny flag for $1 to finance the league. I said, "If you make this happen, I think I can get you the world premiere in every major city. You get $100 a ticket in a theater." And that's, I hate to say it, but mostly that business is money. You could be your brother. You ain't making any money, get out. Guy that's making money sits next to me.
You are a good businessman.
Of course. No, I mean, I learned from the best. I mean, my mentors, amazing guys. It's all coming out in my book, so I could talk about it a lot now. But how I got the part, I said to Joe, because I read the book, and I was enamored to be a movie actor. My ego at 26 years of age, I was making all the money I wanted. It was not about money, but I wanted to be an actor. I wanted to be in the movie business. And I said, if I get this on for you, I want to play Michael, Sonny, or Carlo. There's no problem. So I arranged a meeting at Gulf and Westerville. It's insane. Because I know they all read the book. Bobby Evans flies in, Stanley Jaffe. And he's staying at the Sherry Netherlands. Everybody's right around there. So we have a meeting, and I deliberately used the dialogue from the book. I said, Joe wants to have a sit down here tomorrow, 33rd floor, Gulf and Western Building, which is now Trump, whatever. And here they all come. Butteresh, Chico, Frankie Boy, everybody's coming. And we walk in. I mean, it was so funny because all the executives were on one side of the table, we were on this side. So Joe started talking, and he said, my boy here said we could work this out. And I said, Barry Schlotnick will read the script. He'll make notes and get back to you. And we may be able to resolve this. Because the clock was ticking. They needed the winter weather. They needed all the snow and everything else. And the next day we came back, and they agreed on everything. And Joe said, okay, and they get up and they shake hands. So I go like this, hey, Joe, what about me? He says, oh, yeah. And it was like a scene from a movie. He raised his hand, they all sat down. You're talking about Stanley Jaffe, Bobby Evans, Al Ruddy, they're all there. They all sit down. He says, what are you going to do for him? Oh, we'll give him a part. I said, excuse me, sir. This is a Taft-Hartley state. I know everything about this. I said, not a part. I play Michael, Sonny, or Carlo, or we're out of here. Right, Joe? That's what he said. Oh, it's a deal I made with him. So that's when I found out, which is part of movie history, Sonny was Carmine Caridi. Jimmy Caan was Michael in the original.
Oh. So James Caan was going to... I think it worked out a lot better the way it was.
No kidding. This is before they hired Francis.
Yeah.
So I said, who's playing Carlo? They said, nobody. I said, I'm playing Carlo. Joe, can I play Carlo? He's playing Carlo. He's playing Carlo. So I got the part.
And that led to one of the best movie fights ever. Way better than your fight with Steven Seagal.
That one punch, and then I realized after 25 years, the world knows that one punch missed me. I reacted to it.
That was a Brooklyn street fight. He was hitting you with garbage cans and shoes.
No, but I mean that one punch, they should have cut it. And then after the 25th anniversary, I asked him, why didn't you fix that? You can't touch it. Once it wins an Oscar, it's like putting a smile on the Mona Lisa. You can't touch the negative. So I go through life, with this. I mean, everybody's saying it's a perfect movie. Most of it is, but these kind of little things.
Oh, there's always something.
Oh, no, but the movie, hey, thank God. I mean, I've made a fortune on this movie.
Have you?
I mean, look at my vodka. Don Corleone vodka. Pacino even said to me, how did you get all this? Well, they were off making movies. I'm doing business.
Speaking of which, Gianni's got some vodka for you.
Oh,
and an offer you can't refuse. Hold on.
Yeah.
We are going to now sample.
Ooh, okay.
There's a little bullet in this
look
glass,
at
by
you.
the way.
I figured we designed these glasses. I'm the ambassador to the brand. Just so
Really?
you know. So what we did here, we created a vodka that's, everybody's organic, it's quadruple distilled. And for your listening audience, in the first quarter of 2018, you can get it everywhere. But the biggest place you can get is on Liquorama. Go on and buy it online. But you're going to see it all over the world now. It's already in 4 countries.
It's going to be number one with a bullet, I guess, right?
I don't know about that. Okay.
Well, it's got a bullet right here.
Yeah, I know, but it's, I thought the aficionados of The Godfather would love to have a shot glass with a bullet in it. You want a shot? It's a bullet.
Now, I'm an event promoter, so I'm very involved in the sampling of alcoholic beverages. Mm-hmm. I'm going in. Cover me. Very smooth.
It's quadruple distilled. Organic grain. I sourced the water from the Italian Alps. And Francoli, which is one of the most recognized distillers in the world, is distilling it.
I could be drinking water, except I'm seeing things that aren't there now. But
Yeah.
other than that,
Yeah, no, it gets you.
it's good
But
stuff.
It's smooth. Really
So,
smooth.
folks, we got a good drink here. So, from what I remember reading about the movie, and I know we discussed this, I think I had you on years ago,
Oh, yeah.
James Caan and you, there was always a reputation of having some conflict. What was this deal with that? He didn't seem to
Caan.
like you or something.
Jimmy Caan really thought he was Sonny Corleone. He's a nice Jewish boy from Queens. And he tried to take on this aura, and fortunately, I tried to stay out of the mob all my life, which I did. And all my friends who did time and everything else, I grew up in the neighborhood. I was around these people all my life. And Jimmy thought he could just become friends with Junior or his son, and, now he's in. And he made a couple of mistakes. A lot of mistakes, especially with me. I mean, forget about it.
So, what was his issue with you?
I don't know. It was with him, not me. I get along with everybody. This kid wanted to be, and I should show him respect. Why? Who are you? You're an actor. And at that time, he only did Brian's song on television. And God bless you. I don't like basketball players either. So what? Unless, Kobe Bryant or somebody from the Lakers. But, Jimmy, he's still affected. To now. I don't talk to him yet.
Really? Do you guys end up are there any kind of events? I know a lot of movies have
Oh, yeah, there was a lot of
commemorations, things like that, the Godfather house stuff, and you don't talk to them.
Well, some of the events, if they're not important, I wouldn't show up. What for?
Well, for the ones you do show up, who do you get along with from the movie?
Oh, Bobby and Al, I love. Most of them, everybody else, Taya. In fact, Taya and I, we actually flew around the world with the Blu-ray. We started in Australia. I mean, I'm so appreciative of being in The Godfather.
Oh, it's a great honor.
And
that was your first movie, right?
my first movie, yeah. It's amazing. I did my best movie, my first movie. It's like everything in life with me.
Wasn't that Luca Brasi's first movie, too, I thought?
Yeah, but he was a collector for the. You know that.
No, I don't know.
No, Luca Brasi was a wrestler, and Lenny Montana. And Lenny was a collector for the Columbos, and they had a lot to say on the set. They were on the set every day. I mean, there was a lot. Even at my wedding, the original scene of the movie, there were probably 15, 20 real guys there. Everybody that was sitting with Richard Conte, Barzini, they were all Columbo's real guys. They wanted to be in the movie, so we put them in the movie. Who's going to tell them no, first of all?
I guess they made you a request you couldn't refuse.
They did. No, but I mean, it was good to do that because when we went to, you start shooting in Staten Island, you start shooting in Harlem especially, you needed those people. Well, I remember one day on Mulberry Street, on Mott Street rather, where we really shot the most. They're saying, they're telling the property guy, tell all those people to pull their air conditioners in. Oh, really? On this block? You got to come up with the visuals. Forget about it. They think they're in Hollywood. Oh, we're going to shoot you outside of your apartment building. Old Lady Rose is sitting out the window like this all day long. I says, go up and offer some money and leave her sitting out the window. That's where they sat on the windowsill. Hello.
You want something that looks realistic.
Hello, get the air conditioner out of there and you're done. So they wound up paying everybody. No, but, I mean, that movie, it was in 14 languages and in 42 countries.
And Brooklynese, so that's 43.
Yeah.
So you did a number of things with Marlon Brando. I think
I got
was it The
Brando.
Freshman?
Yeah, I got Brando the biggest paycheck on that movie.
On The Freshman?
Yeah, I got him $12 million. And the only reason he did it was a spoof on The Godfather. He hated Paramount and hated everything they did to him because he feels that they flim-flammed him on his contract because they topped him out at $1 million. And obviously we all know the movie now in rentals alone is in over $1 billion.
It's amazing how many actors who did iconic roles and they hated it, and a lot of it had to do with money. Sean Connery totally was very angry about the James Bond movies.
I know.
He didn't want to do them anymore. He thought they weren't paying him what they should.
Hey, listen, I mean, if you're I'm not an artist, I'm not an actor. I've done 45 motion pictures, but it's a boring business. I mean, especially if you're the star, you're in your trailer for 2 hours, you come out for 2 minutes, go back in your trailer. It's a lot of work. And television actors, I don't know how they do it.
Some interesting things go on in those trailers.
Oh yeah, but not anymore. It's all over.
Oh, forget
After
it.
the black dresses last night, the Globe.
Oh, I
forget
tell you, I
about
heard
it.
about that. Yeah, it's.
Thank God. I mean,
Is anybody not in trouble? Have you been brought up on charges?
not me. Thank God they didn't. Forget it.
Well,
I had
you-
86 girls working for me in my club in Vegas.
You had 10 wives already, so you
Yeah,
know how
no,
much
10
more.
10
How
mothers.
much time did you have?
10 mothers I have, not
Oh,
10
okay.
wives.
Yeah, so that's an interesting thing. You've got how many kids do you have?
I have 11 children, 9 boys, 2 girls, 8 grandsons.
So
There's
there's-
17 Russo
So there were
boys.
10 women and 11 kids. Who got the extra kid?
The last one,
The last one came up with 2.
fabulous lady too. I have all great ex-wives and mothers to my kids.
How did they get along?
They hate each other.
Oh,
And most of them are very prominent. Like Diamici's mother is Princess Poniatowska. Her grandmother's Princess Anna from Romania. No, I've had interesting women, fortunately.
I'm
So
half
diverse.
Romanian. Can you hook me up? Can I go back to the old country with
My
a bottle of vodka?
My son is the guy. You want to talk to him.
All right. Well,
His grandmother's, that's it. No, but I mean, I've had an interesting life because I love life. I'm 75 years of age now. My kids get tired watching me. What I do, and, I perform yet. I'm businesses. I'm about to launch. I'm a part of a major launch with Corleone Family Food Selections.
so food too, or is this just?
We just made a deal with the Greco brothers in Chicago, and we'll be in 42 states this
So
first
this
quarter.
just we're talking about the vodka, or we got?
No, we're talking about tomato sauce, pasta, olive oil. We own Genco olive oil.
You were like a legitimate guy in the olive oil business. Don't they
really
all
am.
claim to be in the olive oil business?
I know. After the Pafacci's, I got in. I'm legitimate.
If you get into waste management, I'm going to start
No,
having
no,
to call
no,
you
no.
sir.
No, garbage disposal are easier.
Okay. Now, speaking of garbage disposal, we come to Tony Soprano. Now,
Oh, my
if you
God.
look at the two things that Americans think of when they think of the mob in Hollywood, you think of The Sopranos and you think of The Godfather. Now, how do you think those two portrayals compare?
You asked the right guy. David Chase, maybe a year or two after The Godfather, he wrote a movie for me when they were doing the 90-minute movies a week at Universal Studio. The Dwarf in the Helium Hat. You got to get it.
The dwarf
The Dwarf
in the helium
Hat.
This is available.
Oh, yeah, it's a 90-minute movie. You got to look it up.
I'm going to.
No. The funniest thing, so now when he finishes the script, they send it to me. He thought maybe I could be this guy.
You were going to be the
Tony
dwarf,
Soprano.
or were you going to wear a hat?
No, I did that.
Oh, okay.
I'm talking about The Sopranos, getting
Oh.
back to your story.
Oh, okay.
And I read the first few pages. I said, first of all, my grandfather rolled over in his grave. And I knew, not that I was going to say I'm not proud of it. I knew every major guy there is, from Costello to Gambino to the Savellas in Kansas City. I'm just that guy. And I don't know one mob boss that every morning puts on his robe and walks down his driveway to get his own newspaper. He'd last a week. They would have popped him right away. How do you do that? And then you open your club in the back of a strip joint? You don't want any attention? They were so off. But, it's like Cagney and Bogart. All of them made careers as gangsters. The world has always been enamored with that gray area.
Yeah.
And The Sopranos was good. Not great to me. I mean, if you're an authentic Italian. I never watched one episode.
Well, the soap opera aspect of it was interesting. They took a family that was involved in the mob, but one of the parts that was interesting about it was looking at their interpersonal relationships and the regular side of them.
But there was no regular side.
Oh, well, there was like the dating of the kids and the various
but look
problems.
at the grandfather. I mean, the father comes down, he's cursing in front of his daughter in his underwear. Come on. My father never was in front of my sisters with his underwear on. They discredited Italians. The true Italians, this was New Jersey Italian. I don't know where they read too many books. I use it in my act. I said, we have any Italians here? And then they all cheer. And then I said, anybody thinks they're Italian from watching The Sopranos too much? I mean, it's true. I mean, it became, God bless, they made a lot of money. You know, Galdafini, I mean, unfortunately, I really got to know the guy. Nice guy.
Yeah, what kind of guy was he?
No, nice guy. And he was a knock-around actor for a while. It was a big part for him. He was the only one that really made money because he held out. But
Uncle Junior didn't make any money out of that?
I mean, he made money, but Uncle Junior ain't going to get what the star of the show does. You know, it's funny. Steve Sharippa was my doorman at my club in Las Vegas. He was there the night I shot that guy.
Oh, that brings us to another interesting story. You're good at segues.
Huh?
You're good at segues. You're helping me out.
Well, how many times have I had this conversation?
So, all right. Now, you owned a casino in Las Vegas, as we know. Where could you pour me a little vodka? I need a shot before I hear about people getting shot.
It's nice and chilled.
See, I'm building suspense. I'm drinking vodka, and you can try this at home.
Oh, please.
This could be my new breakfast drink.
Oh, I'm telling you right now. It's funny you should say that. And then, at night times I can't sleep. I put a little grapefruit juice in this 3 or 4 in the morning, watch the news, and go back to bed for 4 more hours.
All right. Now we know why you get up at 2 in the afternoon.
Why not?
With a hangover.
Sinatra told me that. No hangover.
No hangover?
I guarantee you drink that bottle.
I'm going to check this out and see, because sometimes vodka doesn't always agree with me. That's why I drink a lot of rum. But if there's no hangover tomorrow, I'm going to check out my Facebook page to see if I'm messed up tomorrow, and you'll know what you should do.
Rum, that's all sugar. This.
Where do they make this from?
This is from organic grain.
Well, what kind of grain do we know?
It's all organic grain from Italy. Grain. Wheat.
Wheat, okay, good.
No, it's not wheat because it's gluten-free.
Gluten-free. This is gluten-free.
Gluten-free.
You can get
organic,
smashed
yes,
with no guilt.
and feel healthy.
No animals were killed in the making of this vodka.
Watch Liquorama, you'll see the commercials.
All right, well, we're getting off topic because we got a good story coming up here. So you owned a nightclub in Las Vegas, and you had an incident there one evening. Is that correct?
I owned a lot of nightclubs in Las Vegas.
Okay.
The first one I opened was at the Tropicana Hotel called Tiffany's. And a friend of mine called Elvis Presley.
You knew Elvis.
Opened it.
That was it was just his anniversary of his birthday, I think,
Yeah,
right?
I know.
Just happened.
What a shame. There's another guy. Drugs caught him up.
Yeah.
These guys get caught up in drugs. But with that said, he opened that club, and about 5 years later, I was building a hotel in 1980 called the Renaissance Hotel, a $100 million project, and Jimmy Carter became president. I broke ground on April Fool's Day because Steve Wynn said, you'll never get this on. So I figured, let's do April Fool's Day. It'd be a great day to do it. 3 months later, I had to pull the plug on it because during Jimmy Carter's administration, construction money went to 20%. My accountant firm at that time was Ernst & Young, and they said, Mr. Russo, you'd have to maintain 91% occupancy just to service your debt. You got to stop. So I pulled the plug. Fortunately, the land was in a different corporation. I defunct the hotel corporation. The landowners offshore foreclosed on it all. We still have the land, 23 acres between the Hard Rock and MGM Grand. What is that word today? And I said, I want to do something. So I opened up State Street, which was an amazing club. And Sinatra and Dean Martin and Sammy did those commercials. It was packed all the time, 7 days a week. Opened at 6 at night to 6 in the morning. Gourmet food, German service, tableside. Every dish was finished tableside. And big success.
Now, coming back to an incident in a casino.
Well, actually, it did happen in the casino.
It
He
did
went
happen
into
in
the
the
casino,
Okay.
and then he came back. He opened his check with a bottle of Cristal, a bottle of Louis XIII. Caesar's Palace sent them to me because I had a lot of casino customers. Because why I did 6 o'clock in the morning, most restaurants had to close in hotels because they were all union. So 12 or 1 o'clock were only coffee shops. So I opened gourmet food. And this guy came in. We had, beluga caviar, pate. His check was coming in. It was like $1,800. He's giving everybody $100 bills. One to Stephen Tripp. Everybody got $100 bill. We saw that a lot down there. Goes into the casino, drops some money, comes back, gets into a fight with his girlfriend. Don't know what it's about yet. Breaks the bottle of Cristal and sticks it in her face.
He actually
No.
cut her with it?
Cut her with it.
Oh.
I mean, blood. In fact, I gave her, every lady got a long stem rose coming in. When I got to her table, you couldn't find the rose.
Oh.
So I go to the guy, and I want to declare him because if he's with a friend of ours or something, let him get out. I said, you hear these sirens? They're coming for you. You better get out of here. He said, what do you mean, Mom? I said, well, I guess you're not from the neighborhood because I'm nuts anyway. I said, you have to leave. And so he goes for the girl. I said, you can't take the girl with you. She needs medical attention. She comes with me. And I don't see that he still has the bottle in his hand. So I said, she's not coming with you. He whips around. Fortunately, I'm agile enough. I was like, I don't know, 40 years old. I didn't forget. I go back. See this scar?
Oh.
He dropped my whole chin.
Oh.
Now I'm really pissed. First of all, I had Sea Island cotton shirts. Nat Weiss. I waited 6 months for this powder blue shirt. I looked down, it's all over me. He thought I was nuts. I said, look what you did to my shirt. I always carry a gun. I'm licensed everywhere. So I pulled out my gun. I said, now get out of here. He said, F you. I said, oh, really? So I put 2 right in his head. I'm looking into his head. He goes like this, like a mosquito bite. He was so high on coke and shit. So then I put the other 3 shots right in his chest, and finally he fell down. As soon as he fell down, all the cops come in. I knew everybody there, and there was every witness in the world. Did you see? And they just took them away. So the commander I knew very well, Coots, he's, Johnny, what went on here? I said, I don't know. It was a fight. I got involved. All the bodyguards, Steve Shripper, as big as he was, when they saw that, they stood back. But they were going to UNLV. They were students. So it was obviously justifiable homicide. It was later that I found out he was connected to Pablo Escobar.
I heard of him.
Yeah, I did too. So I flew into New York to see John, who wasn't a favorite of mine, and I wasn't a favorite of his. But through JW, I met with him at the Raven Eye. And I guess the only reason he made the arrangements for me to go, now that I think about it, he thought I'd never come back. So this is it. Get rid of this guy now. So I go there, and I spent 3 or 4 days. I don't remember how many days. And finally, I'm here, obviously. The bad thing about it was I really got to know Pablo. And he's doing lines with me. He's playing Michael with me. But he's got...
How was his English?
Oh, no, he spoke good.
Oh, good, yeah.
No, but not only that, but I didn't know if he was really playing me, because then he had this car the whole scene was, my guys are going to take you to the airport. It was like, I was saying, am I
Didn't
really
I see this a couple of times in a movie?
Yeah, hello. And it's funnier than that. When I get off the plane in Miami, suits come on the plane. They tell us to stay seated. And they get on the plane, and they said, is Gianni Russo on the plane? I'm saying, what the hell next? I had 86 stitches. It's like a week now. I'm like a basket case. And they take me on a DEA plane to Washington because they think I'm a new guy. Because they see me with
Pablo,
John.
you mean?
Because with John, they're going to see Pablo. Nobody leaves Pablo's house alive. And now I'm on this plane. So on the plane, innocently, I thought they knew what happened in Vegas. First of all, they had me handcuffed. I said, where am I going to go at 3,000 feet? And they were all looking at me. And I didn't know whether they were looking at me, studying me or whatever. I said, I have to go to the bathroom. So this guy walks me to the bathroom, takes my handcuffs off, and I go inside. As soon as I come out, he says, why don't you call him the Godfather? I mean, this has happened to me all my life. So I go back, and it was like a bet. That's why they were all looking at him. See, I told you he was calling him the God. They were all asking me these pictures and this and that, about the movie and all that. He says, what were you doing there? I says, I had to get this thing straightened out. I had a problem in Vegas, and I killed one of his guys. They were crazy. They're all on the computer. They don't, I mean, this is DEA. They don't know why they were after me for a totally different reason, thinking I'm the new guy or something, between Vegas, New York, and Colombia. They didn't know I killed the guy.
Oh, man.
But anyway.
And it wasn't just one
Self-defense.
person. You told me a crazy story. Now, when you were young, you had polio, something we don't hear about anymore.
Well, you don't hear about it because I got it in 1949.
Right.
And I was awarded the state of New York. I was in Bellevue for 5 years. And with that said, there was an incident, and Dolores Barone, I'll never forget this girl, she warned me about this guy, this Harold Gardner, and he was a physical therapist once you got to that. So I went through the whole left side of my body for a year, and then, therapy and all of that. And with that said, time meant nothing to you. After so many years, there was no schedule.
Right.
And you had
Were you in
nothing
there
to
for like
do.
7 years or something?
5.
5 years.
5 years. I got out when I was 12. So I had an incident with this guy everybody warned me about. And basically today, I guess they would call him a pedophile. We only had canvas drapes in the bathrooms, giving us privacy. And this guy came one night, in the middle of the night. And for some reason, after we got out of bed, we learned dragging. We had these rails because they wouldn't give you a bedpan anymore. They wanted you to build your muscles and get out. And with that said, I did that. And one day there was a little porter's broom in my way. I just stuck it under my arm, and I went to the bathroom. So I couldn't go to a urinal. I had to sit on a bowl because I had no strength. So in the ground of the tile of Bellevue, unfortunately the building's still there. It's a lasting thing for me because I walk a lot, and I always go down First Avenue. And there is the building. It's still there. And in the ground of the tile on the floor, I sharpened the top of the broom. I don't know why, like a spear. And I put it in the radiator behind me. I always went to the same toilet all the time. Before I sat down, I'd take the broom and lay there. It was like my weapon in the middle of the night. It was dark up there. And screaming. It was a nut house, you're living in a nut house. Hello.
Hard to believe. Bellevue in the, what was this, the 50s or something?
Yeah. Until the 60s it was a nut house.
Oh, yeah.
There's still a psychiatric ward there. That's why when they catch all these people, they take them to Bellevue. For, psychiatric observation.
How come when we have a guy from The Godfather, there's all this police activity outside?
I think they know him up here. They heard.
Are they
this
coming for
interview.
you? Have they heard this interview already?
Yeah, that's what's going on. Jimmy Caan broke the fire alarm downstairs. You're giving me too much attention. He don't like that.
So there's no way to broker a peace with you and James Caan, huh?
What for?
I don't know. I could get some ratings out of that.
No. It was funny because I met Donald Trump in 1968, and I opened Trump Marina. That's when they were having all those boxing matches and all that. And I said, why don't we have, because we had those celebrity boxing matches for a minute, where they had Bob Conrad fight somebody and all that. I said, the biggest rating you'll ever get, which you just said, why don't you have me fight Jimmy Caan? We'll go one round, no garbage pails this time, and I'll kick the shit out of him. He said, you can get that on? I said, you got to get on with him. I'll show up. Because Jimmy's very hurt. I feel sorry about him. Because he was a Bronco rider, his back's so screwed
what
up.
injuries?
He walks around like he's Quasimodo. I'm still doing 5 miles every other day.
After polio, so you recovered that well from that, huh?
Thank God.
It's amazing.
That's why I haven't missed Mass. I made a novena 65 years ago. Get me out of here, God. I'll never miss Mass. I never knew. I have no residuals. None.
You have residuals, but not from that.
Not from that.
You have residuals
Checks.
from the. Do you have them from the Godfather?
Yeah.
A couple of bucks.
Hello.
Now we didn't finish that story though. So okay, so you got this sharpened broomstick. You go to the bathroom and this
It's
character.
very gory.
Well, you don't have to give us all the details. You don't have to give us all the gory
and
details.
He
so to
stands
speak.
inside the drape, and he unbuttons his pants, and he's trying to convince me,
This 12-year-old kid with polio.
that this is a Tootsie Roll, and I should eat it. Well, I lost my broom in his chest. That's all I want to say.
So you got in pretty deep, huh?
Yep.
Wow. Well, if anybody deserved it,
Oh, don't touch kids.
no.
To me, don't play with kids.
Now, you also had a number of interesting relationships with ladies in Hollywood.
Yeah, I've been known to have relationships with great ladies.
So-
One being Marilyn Monroe.
Really? That I didn't know.
Really?
No.
I was with
We never
Marilyn
talked
the
about
last 3
that.
days of her life up in Calneva.
Really?
Yeah, the last weekend of July.
What was her state of mind at that time?
Well, I knew her long before that. I knew her for 4 years. I met her in New York. They were hiding her out at the Waldorf. I was at the Waldorf every day because of Frank Costello. And, I was like a messenger for her. And we really got to know each other well. So when she had no one else, she'd put on a disguise, and we'd go out. Nobody knew who she was. She was hiding
Until
from
she
Joe
stood
DiMaggio.
over a subway grate.
Well, no, that was that's a movie bullshit thing. No, but we used to go to, ridiculous places. In fact, they just closed. I live on, as I said, 61st Street. On 60th Street, there was the Subway Tavern. It's been there forever.
Oh, I used to go there. I used to bartend at the Adam's Apple.
Okay.
And when the staff would stay until the Adam's
They
Apple
go, yeah.
closed, and then we would go to the Subway Tavern. So I've been there.
Do you know how many times I was there with Marilyn Monroe and nobody knew that was Marilyn Monroe at the end of the bar with a dark wig on and sunglasses? She was just, and then you know what she really liked doing? Going over the Brooklyn Bridge. She loved to walk at night. Go over the Brooklyn Bridge and look at New York from that side.
It's great
Great
skyline.
lady. Great
Great
lady.
view on both sides.
Oh, yeah. But a great lady.
Great view with her, too, though. I'm thinking.
No, wasn't that with her? Well, her and I had a lot in common as kids. She told me a story when she was in an orphanage, and she looked out the window of the orphanage and saw Warner Brothers studio in the valley of California. Someday I'm going to be there. And I used to say that from my window of my hospital, I'm going to get out of here, and I'm going to be a part of this city. And I did.
Yeah, I hope so.
And so did she.
But fortunately, you didn't have some of the same problems with, I guess, depression that she did. You had any sense that that was the direction she was going?
I don't know what direction you're talking about. I know.
Well,
the
she
real
killed
direction.
herself.
No, she didn't.
No?
Are you kidding me? I'll say it on the. Bobby
Okay.
Kennedy killed her,
Oh.
and you'll read it in my book.
All right, well, we'll
Oh,
come into your
no.
book.
He was up there in Calneva, and she was going to go public. Now, if he didn't do it himself physically, but he arranged it.
So you feel that
The Kennedys
it's
had
all
a
just a
choir.
cover-up?
They had a choir up.
Another Chappaquiddick.
Hello. Look at that mess. No, but John obviously was assassinated because he didn't fulfill his deal that his father made for him with all the unions and all the 5 families in New York and everywhere else. He would have never won, and he won by a very small margin to begin with. If they didn't bring Lyndon Baines Johnson in, he would have never won the election to begin with. And then to have a scandal for a Catholic boy, because he promised her. John actually promised Marilyn, once I become president, I'll leave my wife and marry you. I said, how dumb could you be? And then he had, the brother playing with everything. And that was it. She was going to go public.
Oh. She told you this?
Told me this and told Sam Giancana, told Sinatra. Sinatra orchestrated that meeting. They were going to whack him. The guy became president. Do you know how he became president? Because the union put him there. Teamsters, culinary, everybody, international longshoremen. They rallied all the votes. Frank Costello did this with Chicago. And they got him to be president. Their reward is we'll invade Cuba and give you all your casinos back. It was a win-win.
That didn't work out.
Bobby convinced his brother, there's no missiles in Cuba, there's none of this. Bay of Pigs, forget about it. Bobby hated his brothers. Bobby was a mama's boy. Why don't you read my book, buddy?
So when is this book coming out?
Fortunately, St. Martin's Press bought it. Very prestigious press company, publisher, part of Macmillan out of London. And it's coming out the spring of 2019.
Now, there was supposed to be a movie about you, too, right? How did that work
I
out?
pulled it back. Because now I see this. They wanted to do the movie first. It's becoming bigger now. I have 2 studios now want to buy the option of the book.
Wow.
And it's an interesting title. Godfathers, Popes, and Presidents.
That's the name of the book.
That's the name of the book.
I got to take some notes. I got a movie to see. The Dwarf with a Hat or something. What was that?
Dwarf of the Helium Hat.
Okay. And this is
David Chase wrote it.
readily available?
Yeah, it's one of those TV movies. That's what they were doing in the 70s and 80s.
I've seen you in a bunch of stuff. I saw you in, was it Harvard Man?
Harvard Man was a great movie.
And you were like the Godfather yourself, I guess.
Yeah,
right?
it was Sarah Michelle Gellar was my daughter. And James Toback is in trouble. He's the director.
Now, with you,
No, but Any Given Sunday, that was the biggest movie I ever did. Bigger than The Godfather, cast-wise. 38 movie stars. You got Pacino, Cameron Diaz, Jamie Foxx. I mean, James Woods. We even brought the old people in, Anne Margaret, Charleston Heston. Great movie. Good movie.
so you've been in what?
and
40,
striptease.
45 movies, is it?
Striptease with Demi Moore.
Oh, you were in that?
Family Man with Nicolas Cage. Big movie. How about Rush Hour 2, Jackie Chan, Chris Tucker? And I made good movies.
So Jackie Chan and Steven Seagal, who do you think's coming out on top?
Hello. Jackie Chan. Take him out 2 seconds.
What was Steven like? Okay, I know you told me about the situation with that woman, but what was he like to deal with in general? Because you were actually in the scenes with him.
Oh, no. I mean, Stephen was a maniac. He thought he was this guy. He's like Jimmy Caan trying to do Chinese. So what are we doing here? It's the same, you know. He really thought he was this guy. I said, Stephen, don't pull this shit with me. Because I direct, every line I delivered, I wrote. You just saw the movie. When he comes into the
You got
neighborhood
hair
club.
like a girl.
Yeah, I say, oh, you still care? You know, like, he's cut. What'd you just say? I said, you still call me hair like a girl. He said, why would you say that? I said, you're in a neighborhood. You come in with a ponytail on. Only young kids wear ponytails in the summertime. Oh. Even in the club, when he's coming in, anybody see Richie? And I offered the $5,000. That was all ad lib. I said, I'd pay $5,000 for that badge right now. He's nothing. Forget about it. He's bullshit.
There was a guy who got beat up in that, who also got beat up in one of my favorite fight scenes
Well,
ever.
it's all Stevens guys.
Well, it was in A Bronx Tale. Remember when those bikers walk into that? If you've never seen it, watch it again. It's great.
I never saw Bronx, though.
Chaz Palminteri has got this. He's the local
You
guy.
think that's the same guy? All those guys
Well,
were
one of those
Stevens
guys. One of those guys, the same guy. And Chaz Palminteri comes into his club, and these bikers are making trouble. And he says, what's the problem? We just want a drink. He says, okay, you spoke out like a gentleman. He goes to walk away, and they treated his bartenders badly. So Chaz comes back and says, get out. They say, shut up, leave us alone, right? He walks away. They think that they scared him. He walks away, locks the door,
Yeah,
turns back and goes, now you just can't leave.
Yeah.
That was a great moment. But anyway, one of those guys
See
was
what
one
you
of the guys
just said?
that
I
got
did
beat
that
up
on
in,
Mulberry Street Bar. You can go down there tomorrow night. Mulberry Street Bar. We had, after a Yankee game, a couple of guys came from Jersey with the Yankee hat on. And we loved the Yankees. Little loaded, went over once, twice, 3 times. Calm down, guys. Watch your mouths. And then there's one guy says, I said, you know what? Why don't you leave? We ain't leaving. You ain't leaving? Okay. I said, Joe, we go lock the door. That's what he does. Now you can't leave. Where do you think that line came from? Are you crazy? Go down there and they'll tell you. I was nuts when I was a kid. But nicely, not. You ain't gonna come to like Mulberry Street. I love Mulberry Street.
So you treated people well as long as they behaved properly.
Respect.
Right.
It's called respect. A big word. The only reason I'm alive, I respected everybody in the world. How many people wanted to kill me?
Now, speaking of some real wise guys, you worked for Frank Costello when you were a kid, right?
For years, man. Till 1972.
Now, he was supposedly a really good businessman aside from
That's where I
the
learned.
organized crime. And I was going to say, is that where you picked
He
up?
was my mentor. Him, how about these mentors? Him, Maya Lansky, Mo Dalis, and Al Malnick. Al Malnick's still alive. I talk to him once a week.
So Maya Lansky, was that who they based the character on in Godfather 2?
Jaime Roth.
Yeah.
Of course.
Yeah.
They should have. He was the guy. No, it's crazy.
What was he like?
Calmest. He was like visiting your old uncle. Johnny, how are you? I mean, the guy was the best.
So he
But,
was calm
powerful.
until... Those
You
are the guys you
never
got to worry
know.
about, huh?
See, I mean, I like Carlo Gambino. Carlo Gambino was a great old man. That's who they fashioned the character. See, I asked Mario Puzo. There was 3 different crime families in that. Obviously, Pafacci's with the olive oil, Banana, the other one that do the drugs. Carlo Gambino was like a gentleman, not like these crazy people today. They lost it. John lost it. In Chicago, Tony Spilotro, he lost it. And they destroyed it all. Those 2 men destroyed the mob in the United States. Took it off the map, which is amazing. I often wondered if they were part of the FBI. Maybe they paid them to do it. What they lost in millions of dollars.
John was not exactly low profile, huh?
Not only low profile, he broke every rule of this thing. When that's why Sammy flipped on him. When the FBI played that tape, he was so loyal to John, he was heartbroken. That was it.
What kind of guy was he?
Sammy?
Yeah.
I would tell you, Sammy, I didn't know him that well, but I'm older than him. But everything I knew about the guy, hardworking guy, did what he did. But as far he was what that thing was supposed to be. That's honor. That's what's wrong with this country. My kids, nobody has respect anymore. Nobody cares how old you are. Do you ever see a young kid get up and give an old lady a seat on the train or the bus? It's unheard of. Unheard of.
So you're unhappy with the direction America's going?
I'm happy with the world going where they're going. Where are they? Say good morning, be nice, be respectful.
Good advice.
It worked for me, and I'm nuts.
Now, we're winding down, but somebody who you knew, I believe, when she was young, really talking about a tragic story. I know we talked about Marilyn. What about Whitney Houston?
Oh, my God. Whitney Houston, that's ironic that you used to say that. I managed her aunt for 15 years, Dionne Warwick.
Right.
What you don't know, I have 6 Grammys for music and 1 Oscar, Lady in Red. She did Lady in Red with Stevie Wonder. We won the Oscar for that. Whitney, and Sissy, I knew Sissy, her mother, for years because she was the head of the Blossoms with Elvis. They used to, when Streisand opened the International Hotel in Vegas on 4th of July, 1965 or 66, Elvis came in for 2 weeks. But they were doing 2 shows a night, every night. And that's how I got to know Sissy. And then when we were here in Westchester, Premier Theater, we used to give the backup girls those 2 weeks off and hire these. We heard Whitney vocalizing in a hallway, 3.5 octave range. But, nobody gave her freedom. After she did Bodyguard, they thought she was too white. They didn't want the world to know she was gay, so they hook her up with Bobby Brown, who strung her out on drugs. Talk about a fiasco. No, but you know, another girl, lady that I really got to know in London, and we all loved her, Amy Winehouse. Look at these people.
Right,
Drugs, you know.
We're in our last minute, and I want to give you a chance to plug anything that you haven't plugged and want to plug. Websites, vodka,
Vodka, anything you want. Who cares?
Wine?
Wine, no wine. I'm done with the wine.
you're done with the
We're
wine.
going with all booze now.
Italians are done with the wine. They're moving
No,
to vodka.
no, I didn't say the Italians are done with the wine. I'm not doing wine no more. I've stepped up. The margins in booze.
You're a man of the world now.
Trying. Thank God.
You got a website, Gianni?
Yeah, go to my website.
What is it? Tell the people.
Gianni Russo, anybody. Google, do
Is
it
it JohnnyRusso.com?
JohnnyRusso.com.
All right.
No.
What's next for you? What are you doing now? What's the next thing you're doing? Other than
now-
leaving here.
No, we're staying focused on launching the spirits. Also, the first quarter, you'll be seeing in 41 states. We partnered with DiCecco, who's the largest importer and distributor. They do $6 billion a year. They're out of Chicago. Love these boys. We're
Okay. This was a great show. This guy's got stories. This guy's got vodka. We'll be back next time with more great guests. But for now, we are gone.